Hello chess friends, and welcome to Azadov's chess channel, and welcome to the round 5 of the Grand Chess Tour in 2019 in the St. Louis Chess Club. So after 5 rounds, believe me or not, Levon Aronian is the leader with 4.5 points with a rating performance of 3,596. Unbelievable stuff. I'm really glad that Levon Aronian plays such good chess. He's really this old school chess player, because he plays this really common systems, aggressive lines, really great positional plays, and today he crushed Magnus Carlsen with the black pieces. So as the title said, maybe you know, maybe you don't know, I've named my son. He's now 1.5 years old. I hope he will share the love for the chess like me. I named him Levon, although I'm from Croatia. It's not a common Croatian name. I named him Levon after this grandmaster Levon Aronian, and many guys said to me, okay, you have named him after a chess player, why didn't you name him Magnus? Because really I admire this player Levon Aronian. I like his systems, I like his play, I understand his positions, and I really love this player, and you see now why in this particular game against the world champion Magnus Carlsen. I'm really excited. I had a great afternoon watching these games. Finally, I had some days off from my common work. I really had the time to watch the games, to study the games, and it's a great tournament. I don't know what to say anymore. Let's cut the talk. Let's see the game, what happened in the game. So d4 played by Magnus Carlsen, knight on f6, we have knight on f3, and now d5. So many possibilities here. Magnus chose here the London system. He played that very often, also in some games against Caruana, and we have e6. It's a calm variation against the London systems. I myself like to play the King's Indian, so basically I tried to, different ways to fight the London system. Okay, still we have a compact position. Of course, our main idea is to create a pawn breakthrough with c5, maybe crack the position, but also white has the possibilities here with c4. But the main idea from white's perspective is to get this bishop out and build a fortress with c3, on e and e3. If you challenge then this bishop would maybe go a little bit around, but you then have to weaken your light squares in order to trap this bishop. But these are these positional ideas. This game wasn't positional at all. Here after e3, Levon Aronian goes immediately into this bishop on d6 line. He's annoyed by this bishop on f4. He wants to trade it off, and it's a common idea in this setup against this annoying London system. So the London system is a great system, I think. If you have troubles to find a good system with d4 as white, you can try the London system. I think it's good to have a good preparation as white. So bishop on g3. The idea of this move is really a positional one, because the main protector of this e5 square is of course this bishop, and we are waiting here black to take this bishop on g3, although it creates some doubled pawns. But then the h file is open, and we have then again the possibility to place our knight on e5, because we have the so-called static center position. The static center position is this position of the pawns. So basically you're searching for improvements of the position through these squares that are supported by the central pawns. So from white's perspective, of course, these are the squares c5 and e5. From black's perspective, the squares are e4 and c4. So these are, as I said, static center positions. These are our main targets, the weak squares in our opponent's position, and that's why here bishop on g3 supporting this e5 even more. We are waiting these bishops to get traded off here on g3. Castling knight from b to d2 was played. Now b6, with the preparation to play c5, bishop on b7, and then create ourselves an outpost, which would be then supported by this light square bishop. Also a common idea in these types of setups. c3, you see Magnus is building this fortress that I said on light squares. He doesn't want to get this position open, because after the move c5 and the potential c takes d4, he wants of course to recapture with the e pawn, and then he will still have a firm pawn structure here on the queen side. Bishop on b7 was played, and now bishop on d3, queen knight on d7 was played, and now queen on c2. We have now bishop on g6. Brave idea by Levon Aronian. Now the position really gets opened for this rook, so we have now triple attack on the square h6. And the problem from black's perspective is that you have to weaken the position with the move h6. If you play something like g6, there are some tactical possibilities, of course, knight on g5, and then if you maybe place sacrifice maybe on e6, then you have also some sacrifice possibilities on g6. So one of the best ways to get out of this light square mess, of course, is to put your pawns on dark squares, just to get really sort of a defensive system here against this very annoying attack that Magnus has prepared here so far. And here rook on h4 was played. Also common idea. It's really a great attack so far by Magnus Carlsen. But the problem is that the king is in the center, and when the king is in the center, you should really try to open the position somehow. You should really try to get somehow maybe the e file open or the c file open, just in order to open position, because the king is always endangered. If you castle long here, that's the problem. After potential c5 and c takes d4, then after e takes d4 and rook on c8, I just want you to imagine if the position, if the king is here on c1, then you have really two pieces on the c file, and you'll need again another tempo in order to escape with the king on b1. So basically in these types of variations, it's really maybe even the best to stay with the king in the center, because it's still hard for black to open the position somehow, because the coordination of these pieces of white is perfectly fine. So that's why here c5, the common idea, and now knight on e5. Rook on c8, you see, we want to create this discovered attack on the queen. f4, Magnus is fixing the position here, and after knight takes on e5, of course, we would then take maybe with this f pawn and then deflect the knight, because the knight is the key defender of this square h7. So if we remove this knight on f6, then we have some check possibilities on h7. a6 by Aronian. Now a4 preventing, of course, b5 ideas. b5 would be perfectly fine for black. Then we could also crack the position, crack this pawn structure, because here Magnus has a good pawn chain. So our main idea is to crack the position here on b4. Then the position would be really open for this rook. c takes d4 was played, and as I said, e takes d4. Although white has this double pawns, it's still hard for black to battle, and here Aronian tries this knight takes on e5 idea. Okay, f takes e5, we have knight on d7. You see the knight is here a little bit deflected now from the defense. Maybe even the best way would have been maybe just to play knight on e4 after knight takes on e4, d takes e4, bishop takes, and the position is much more simplified. White doesn't have any more so much attacking pieces against black's king. Maybe then after that queen on g5 would be an idea. But here after this f takes e5, knight on d7 was played, and here knight on f3. Magnus Carlsen is reloading now this knight on f3, gets another attacker into the game. The idea is rook on f4 and try to really somehow crack the position, then maybe also create some dangerous attacks here on light square. So now we have 4 attackers. This is the main problem for Levon Aronian. White has 4 attackers against only 3 pawns. We don't have any more support by a minor piece, and here f6 was played by Aronian. Brave decision, weakening even more the light squares around his king. E takes f6 was played, and now queen takes on f6. But the idea was this queen on f6, because now we have at least another defender in the game, and here rook on f4 was played. Now we have queen on e7, bishop on h7 was played by Carlsen, and now king on h8. And now Magnus Carlsen makes an inaccuracy. He plays the move knight on h4. Maybe rook on f8 would be the better idea after queen takes on f8. Then here again knight on h4 doesn't bring you so much. Maybe now even castling would be the best way. But Magnus goes knight on h4 with the idea, of course, to play a fork on g6. And here Levon Aronian plays a really cool queen sacrifice. He plays rook takes on f4. Go for it. Go for the queen. Magnus plays knight on g6 with an attack. king takes on h7, we have the queen sacrifice here by Levon Aronian. Knight takes on e7, but now we have the in-between check, very important move. If you try something like king on d2 in order to escape, then we have rook on e8 and we'll trap the knight. So if you go on any square, you will lose simply the knight. Basically the best move is here maybe to take, and this is now favorable continuation for black, because we have now doubled the rooks on the e file. We can improve the position of this knight. We can also improve the bishop, so this wouldn't be a good continuation. Very nice queen sacrifice here by Levon Aronian. As said, rook on e4, and Magnus decides to give up the queen. Also here d takes e4 the queen, and now rook takes on knight takes rook on c8, bishop takes on c8, and we have now a simplified position. We have now two minor pieces against the rook, and but the evaluation here is winning for black, because we have now pass pawn, which can always be supported by the knight on f6, and we basically want to improve the position of this light square bishop. Magnus tried here b4 using the pawn majority, because he will then have maybe 4 connected pawns and then create a pass pawn here on the queen side. King on g6 was played, and now c4. King on f7, getting the king more here to the center, because we need the activity of this king in order to defend from the pawn storm that Magnus Carlsen has created. b5, and now very important move, e5, cracking now the pawn storm that Magnus has built here. We want to undermine really the pawn pressure in the center. d takes e5, and now very important move, creating a blocking system, a5, because you have now a static pawn structure, which is very important when you play this two pieces versus rook endgames. Now we want to have a really staticity in the game. That's why here a5, of course this is always a weak pawn. We can take this pawn whenever we want, but the more important is that we fix the knight, fix the position of the pawns. If the pawns get mobile, then the pass pawn situation would be really an annoying one to handle for these two minor pieces. So great positional play here, great endgame play here by Levon Aronian. Rook on d1, and now knight takes on e5, not a problem. Rook on d4, attacking the pawn, but now bishop on e6, rook takes on e4, knight takes on c4, it's not a problem. King on e2, now knight on d6, rook on f4 with the check. King on e7, we have king on d3, and now knight on b7, king on d4, and in this position Magnus Carlsen resigned, because in the next move you can play simply knight on c5, the most important square for this knight. In the next moves you can try bishop on b3 and then capture this weak pawn. So this is of course a completely winning endgame for black. Great play, I think, by Levon Aronian, and I'm really happy that he's back in chess. He plays really great chess. He has now 3 wins with black pieces, which is a huge success in this top grandmaster level, and I hope he can continue and even win this very great tournament here in St. Louis. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed a lot this game. We'll see now what will happen with Magnus Carlsen. He has now 2 out of 5, 2 wins, 3 losses. I've never seen Magnus Carlsen starting one tournament like this, and well, I don't know. We'll see. I'm just hoping that Levon Aronian will this tournament because he deserves to win a tournament after a while. He hasn't participated in many tournaments. He's now playing really maybe his best chess like he did before in the maybe in 2010. Okay, what I wanted to say is also that I've created a very important video in the Basics in Chess series, in which I explain you this rook versus 2 minor piece endgame. You can watch it. Here is the link to that video, and you can also watch my best chess games of all times videos if you want to see the best chess games that have been ever played in chess history. And you can also subscribe to my channel. Thanks you for watching, guys, and chess is the best, of course.